Samoa Joe, does he even wrestle anymore? Find out that and more on this week's Weekly Wrestling Cast. Hey, alright. Welcome back, everyone.
How's it going?
I'm Danny Marvelous.
And I am Nick the Iceman.
Yes, and we are here for another episode of the Weekly Wrestling Cast.
Alright, so we're going to start off with some news.
Yes. We only have a couple things this week. So most of them are matches that got announced already via the shows and stuff. So first one is the Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch announced for Survivor Series, non-title match, kind of what they do for Survivor Series nowadays. That's alright though. Other one was a rumor that I just thought was cool. Apparently, Drew McIntyre was supposed to replace Roman Reigns in the title match for the Universal Championship.
Oh, really? So it was still supposed to be a triple threat?
Yeah, exactly. Granted, they ended up not going forward with that, but how cool would that have been? And then finally, this was just announced today. Shinsuke Nakamura will face Rusev at Crown Jewel for the United States Championship on the kickoff show.
Still unfortunate it's on the kickoff show, but I guess it's better than nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It's more than the other titles are being defended. But yeah, that is our that's our news for this week. So let's go and hop right into the pay-per-view.
Evolution.
The Evolution pay-per-view. Give me your overall thoughts.
I enjoyed it.
It was awesome.
I thought it was very well done. A lot of the matches I thought were good.
Hell yeah.
Quite a few things actually went different than I was thinking they would.
Uh-huh.
I think on our picks, I only got 2 of mine.
Yeah, I got like 1 or 2. But,
so
yeah.
Things went a lot different than at least we were expecting.
Yeah, that's for sure. But yeah, so let's start off with the first match, which was the Trish Stratus and Lita versus Alicia Fox and Mickie James. Of course, Alexa Bliss was injured and cannot compete. So,
which was my number 5 pick.
Yes, it was.
Which it went basically how I expected it to. It was a straight up squash match.
Yeah. Pretty much, there was some good stuff, but pretty much the legends killed it most of the match.
It wasn't a bad match, but yeah, it was.
It wasn't bad at all. Although there was that one time Alicia Fox missed her cue, and
yeah,
the ref was like, it's not a 3 count.
Yeah, it was 1, 2, and then there was a really long pause, and then she kicked out.
Yeah, exactly.
But it happens.
It does, and you know what? It didn't ruin the match for me. I thought this was a great way to start the pay-per-view. So, but yeah, of course, Trish Stratus and Lita get the win. Nick gets his 5 points. Woo! All right, moving on. We had a Bella Twins interview, which, by the way, can the tech guys get their stuff together? It was echoing like crazy.
Yeah, it was not the cleanest.
Yeah, and then they hyped the final match of the night by devoting the match to Ronda's mother.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, so then we move into the Battle Royale. And so, all the women come out one by one. They do it quick, but they give everybody their time, which I thought was nice because obviously you don't do that at the WrestleMania.
Yeah, everybody got like a condensed opening, which I thought was neat, especially with all the people they were bringing back for this. Yeah.
And of course, the last people out are the Iconics. I'm just like, they're just gonna rag on all these women, aren't they?
Yeah.
And of course, they did in their beyond annoying way possible. And they immediately get knocked out of the ring as soon as the match starts.
I remember watching, and I watched it with some friends, we do. And they were headed down to the ring. Everybody was doing their intros, and I was just thinking, I could see them trying to get Tamina and Nia Jax out first because, they're the bigger people. They're more of a threat. And then the Iconics came out, and I was just like, I would like to change my prediction. I feel like those 2 are getting thrown out first.
That's a fair. And they did. Immediately, all of them turned on the Iconics.
And then the newer generation ringed around the All-Stars.
Yep, and the beatdown began. I actually really enjoyed this. It wasn't the cleanest thing in the world, but
I mean,
I thought it was dope.
It was good. It was a good match.
Yeah. There were a couple big spots. Of course, Mandy turns on Sonya Deville.
Which I kind of saw coming because they do that with every one of these kind of Royale or Royal Rumble type things.
Yeah, exactly. But I hope they turned that into something, though.
That would be cool if they actually made it a feud.
Because I just want Absolution to do something that's not getting their ass beat.
I mean, I agree. I like them both.
But yeah, multi-woman suplex again. Dance break.
Which I enjoyed very much.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Michelle McCool was looking freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Out of all the quote-unquote... well, no, they are legends. Out of all the legends, I think Michelle McCool probably looked the best. So, yeah.
I also liked that they had the classic sneak. Someone about halfway through rolls out, and then it's just gone for the rest of the match.
Yeah. Zelina Vega shows up.
It gets down to Ember Moon and Nia Jax, and Ember gets thrown over the top. She lands on the apron, and then Zelina Vega comes running up and tries to pull
Nia Jax over. And she gets her over the ropes, but she lands on the apron.
And celebrates a little too early.
Yeah, I was so hyped for that, honestly.
I was going to be so mad if she won.
It would have been so funny. But yeah,
and then honestly, my surprise, now, both of us picked Asuka to win this.
Yes, we did.
So, I was a little surprised when she got eliminated, because I thought it was going to either be her or Ember Moon.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I was like, oh, they're just going to give it to Ember Moon. And then they didn't. And I was like, really?
I was honestly really surprised by that. And, like, don't get me wrong. I like that, like Nia Jax is good and all that. But she was already in that title picture. Like, Nia Jax is just so strong and so big that it's like, she's always going to be one of the contenders.
Exactly.
Whereas Ember Moon's been kind of stuck in the mid card.
And they've been trying to put her over. They've been having her win matches, get momentum, and I feel like this was just her hitting a wall.
Yeah, because, if she won, then it's just like, oh, she's immediately in that title picture. But now she's still back down in the mid card, so. But yeah, I liked it, though, for the most part.
Yeah.
And excited to see where that goes.
So after that,
we had the Mae Young Classic Finals, which this hurt me. It was Toni Storm versus Io Shirai, and like most of the crowd, a lot of the crowd didn't know who these women were. Maybe not all of them were watching the Mae Young Classic, but
I feel like it was received well, though.
Yeah, exactly. Is that like it started slow, but they really ended up bringing it, and everybody got into it by the end. But unfortunately for me, not unfortunate for the winner because Toni Storm ends up winning. And don't get me wrong, Toni Storm is amazing. But it means I lost my 5-point pick. And based on the rest of our picks, it was at this point, I was mathematically eliminated from winning the title.
That was the point. I was so happy.
Yeah.
I celebrated.
Nick the Iceman is your new WWC champion.
I'm back. I'm on the top.
Back, you were never up there to begin with.
Fair. But now we each have a title win under our belts.
Exactly. Nice 50-50 split so far.
And we'll be doing Crown Jewel a little differently, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that at the end of the podcast. But anyway, but yeah, that match was awesome. So
I actually really like Io Shirai.
Yeah, that moonsault from the top to the outside was incredible.
She is so cool.
Mm-hmm. Then we had Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Natalya versus the Riot Squad. And I was surprised by this match.
This match was really good.
It turned into something that I really enjoyed. I was like, I feel kind of bad that I was so down on this match.
Yeah, because we had talked about in the lead up to Evolution that it's not that we're not excited for the match, but it was just like, it felt lackluster in comparison. But this match was so good.
It really turned out to be something special. I mean, that was really great. And, of course, there was the one big botch that everybody saw. Sasha tries to go over the ropes, and she lands on the apron instead. And it looked painful, too.
Yeah.
But besides that, like, the rest of this match is really just put together really well. All the spots were done very nicely, and I really enjoyed myself.
And I don't dislike Natalya, but she's not my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't mind that they gave her the pin on it.
I thought Sasha got the pin.
Oh, that's right.
She got the frog splash. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So.
Natalya put somebody in the hold at one point.
Yeah,
I thought they
in the sharpshooter. No, they didn't.
I was thinking that they tapped.
They did not, but that's all right.
Oh, that was the thing on.
I think Raw.
That's right.
Anyway, our next match was the NXT Women's Championship between Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler. And first off, right off the bat, I really want to praise Shayna Baszler because she sells stuff that clearly was botched.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple holes that were missed, unfortunately, but she goes with it, she sells it, it makes it believable anyway. So that's something that that's something that the greats do. So but yeah, geez, she was brutal in this match.
I really enjoyed this match a lot.
Ooh, it was good. And there was so many good spots. Of course, Kairi flying through the air was awesome. The big one for me was Shayna Baszler getting that arm lock on Kairi and just holding her entire weight outside of the ring.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap, that was awesome.
That was a real impressive feat.
Uh-huh.
And I was so upset because when Shayna started to get help,
yeah,
I was like, this is it. This is my wild card.
Your NXT
my Hail Mary. I knew it didn't really matter because I had also done the math at that point. But at that point I was just seeing how many points I could get.
Yeah.
Just because it's fun to predict things
exactly.
like that. And I also was really looking forward to the NXT invasion because I thought that would have just been amazing.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. There just was a couple of her friends.
Yeah. A couple of the other UFC four horsewomen.
Yeah.
They came in, interfered with the match.
Delivered a couple heavy hits.
Yeah, ref didn't see it. Baszler gets her in the chokehold, and eventually the ref is just like, she's out, let her ring the bell.
Yeah.
But yeah, that match was great though. Like, holy crap, that was good.
They tore it down.
It really was.
For sure.
And so, of course, Shayna Baszler gets the win. And honestly, I think Shayna should be in the Royal Rumble next year.
I agree. She's really impressive, and I think it would be interesting to see what she could do with
that would be so cool.
A title shot like that.
Imagine if Ronda holds on to the belt, Royal Rumble happens, Shayna Baszler gets it, and challenges Ronda.
I mean, yeah,
it writes itself.
That's something we had talked about from the start
exactly.
when Ronda came in, because, I mean, they've showed that her and Shayna Baszler, like, outside of the WWE Universe, have had connections, so it would just be an interesting way to fuel a feud.
Nice. But yeah, then we moved on to Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair in the quote-unquote first women's last woman standing match. Granted, NXT has had a couple of them, but we're just ignoring those because it never happened on the main roster.
That's fair.
So, yeah.
A lot of people don't watch NXT or 205, so
it's fine.
Nothing to notch them. I mean, definitely not, because especially since I've started watching them, they're both very well done.
Oh yeah, those shows are great.
We've had some matches of the week be from those, so
plenty of them, yeah. But this match was freaking cool.
They literally destroyed almost everything.
Really? So, they start out and they get the kendo sticks right away. And I always find it weird that kendo sticks are under the ring, but I'm like, whatever. Just an odd item to keep under the ring.
I feel like at this point, it's just nostalgia from the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Because, like, originally they were things people brought in, or, like, they were just there for, like, TLC matches or like, no rules matches, Extreme Rules matches.
Yeah.
But now that they're just stock under the ring.
But they start hurling all these chairs into the ring, and I'm like, how many damn chairs are under this fucking ring?
Well, people were chanting, "We want tables," so I just figured they were looking for tables, and the tables were covered in chairs.
they uncovered them, and
had to be like 20 chairs in the middle of the ring.
Exactly, and both of them get like. First off, Becky gets suplexed onto it. I'm like, ooh, that hurt. And then, she turns it around on Charlotte. Charlotte gets hit with the chairs as well. So good.
And I like that you can tell that they're going at it hard. About halfway through the match, you can start seeing welts on Charlotte from the kendo stick.
Eventually they get the tables out. Charlotte tries to do a moonsault through the table and it doesn't go through. Which I'm glad that she goes back and then does it right. Because she ends up doing a senton through it. Yeah. Whereas we saw in the Hell in a Cell match, I think it was, with Sasha, she did the moonsault onto the table, didn't break, and they just kept going. So I like that they went back and were like, no, let's do it through the table. And then Charlotte gets out the ladder, weaves Becky's legs through it.
In a move that will never work.
Oh, no, never. But who cares? I don't care. She gets her in the figure 4 to the figure 8. Becky is tapping to get out, but that's not how this match works.
And it's really funny to me because I was looking at it and I was just like, they're just doing it through the ladder. The ladder isn't putting any extra torque or anything. What is the ladder doing?
Yeah.
It looked cool. Don't get me wrong. Cool.
But yeah, then there were a couple, little things with the refs count that were a little, okay.
Yeah, I know there were a few times I was watching where one of them would be down for like 3 to 4 seconds, 3 to 4 count. And it's just like, what? Why aren't you counting yet?
Yeah, exactly. Or they would be getting up and they only get to their knees.
And he stops the count.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, that's supposed to be a 10 count, but we'll let you go through with that.
So then after that, they take it to the outside of the ring.
Yeah.
Start, throwing stuff off the announce tables. Becky gets Charlotte real good.
Oh, yeah.
And starts piling shit on top of her. Starts throwing chairs and gets office. Starts with the 3 office chairs and then starts getting chairs from the ring. Puts a table piece over it.
Yeah. It was good. They did this in the Ciampa Gargano fight as well. And so it just reminded me of that, but really good spot. And
Becky's in the middle of the ring celebrating because she's just thinking there's
no way.
Yeah, I got it. And they get to around 5 count, and you see the stack of rubble start shifting, and then you see an arm come out, and she just pulls herself from the pile, and that's when the momentum shifts.
Yeah, Becky's like, no. She's like, I can't. There's no way you could have survived that. How are you still moving? And Charlotte goes after her with that kendo stick and just swinging for the fences. Eventually, they get over to the table. Charlotte sets Becky up, tries to do another moonsault through it, but Becky catches her at the top rope. Does a power bomb. Charlotte doesn't get up before a 10 count. Becky Lynch is still the SmackDown Women's Champion.
Which, don't get me wrong, I enjoy because I am a hardcore Becky Lynch fan.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought they were going to give it to Charlotte.
I thought so, too, but I'm not upset with this outcome, so. But yeah, that match was good, though.
It was so good. They put everything they had into that match.
Mm-hmm. But then we move on to the main event, which was Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella. And turned out to be actually pretty enjoyable as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, because don't get me wrong, I got tons of respect for Nikki Bella, but I mean, I didn't really think that she was main event of the first women's pay-per-view good. And granted, considering the match that came before it, I mean, maybe that match should have gone on last, but the Raw Women's Championship is really prestigious, and so, this was turned out to be a really good match, and lots of Bella Twin shenanigans.
Yeah, we were expecting there to be.
Exactly. She can't win clean. So, but there's a couple times that I was like, the interference from Brie Bella that turned into the double drop, the double Samoa drop.
Yeah.
Was blatant interference.
And it wasn't
that's immediate DQ.
Yeah, it wasn't even hidden.
The ref saw it immediately. They just let it go because obviously that spot was going to happen where she does the double drop. But yeah, eventually, honestly, a pretty good Nikki Bella holds on to it for the momentum for a really long time after the cheatsy shenanigans. Eventually, Ronda gets pumped up. She gets a hold of Nikki's arm, throws her around for a little bit, hits the armbar, taps out, and Ronda is still the Raw Women's Champion.
Which, I'll be honest, I'm not upset about the titles not changing because it doesn't... We've talked before about how sometimes it gets a little old if a title keeps getting defended. It's like we need to shift things up.
Yeah.
This, it didn't feel boring or anything like that. I actually didn't mind it.
Yeah. The only thing I would say about this match that I didn't like was, I had my device up pretty loud so I could hear everything, and you can hear them talking to each other.
Oh yeah, you can hear them calling on moves.
Yeah. You can hear them calling their moves, and that's something that happens just because Ronda is new. Like, don't get me wrong, she's really good, but as far as like building a match and calling spots, like more seasoned wrestlers are they either just know it or they know tricks to motion to the other person, and Ronda just doesn't know those. So.
And I think it says something about Nikki Bella that she's helping her out with it.
Yeah.
And not just letting her do things weird.
Exactly. But yeah, that was Evolution though.
I got my title back.
Yes.
Oh, one last thing about Evolution. So they all come out for a picture at the end.
Which I thought was weird.
Becky Lynch is not in the picture.
Oh, yeah?
We looked, like, me and the people we watched with paused it and scanned the picture as much as we could. We didn't see her.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if they did it to keep her heel image up, or if she was injured after the match, or she just needed to recover.
Well, see.
Not sure, but Charlotte came out. She had help. And it looked like a lot of the people, they didn't really break kayfabe. Like, there weren't really people who were rivals next to each other.
Yeah.
But it was a moment where all of the women were coming out.
Yeah, and there were very clear, like, heels that were not being heely, so, it was a little outside of kayfabe.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting.
But yeah, on the Becky Lynch thing, like, I don't know if they were trying to, like, build that or anything, but then later on, WWE released a photo gallery of behind the scenes of Evolution, and they showed one with Becky Lynch and Ronda chatting it up with their titles, like being all friendly. And so it's just like, guys, I understand that this is a big deal, but keep the kayfabe.
There was another one they showed on SmackDown, I think, this week. That was Ric Flair, two other people. I don't know who it was. It might have been Sasha and Bayley.
Okay.
But then Charlotte and Becky were on the end caps.
Yeah, because they had the 4 horsewomen, which is Sasha, Bayley, Charlotte, and Becky.
Yeah, and they were all like posing with Ric Flair.
And I was like, these two just beat the crap out of each other.
And
they
both
hate
smiling.
each other. Yeah.
They were both smiling.
So yeah, it's a little weird, but whatever. We can ignore it for now.
All right. So then after that, we come into Raw.
Monday Night Raw,
which opens with Baron Corbin.
Yes, Constable Corbin. He's holding the title around his shoulders.
Talking about how it feels good here at home where it belongs.
Yeah. And he's like, he gets a little heat by talking about Roman Reigns for a second. And so, but yeah, eventually he's talking about how it's going to be him, but...
Then we hear an intro that I didn't think we were going to be hearing.
Oh yeah, here comes Brock Lesnar.
An actual Brock Lesnar, too.
Yeah. Not just Paul Heyman. Brock Lesnar comes out. And, Heyman starts going off like he always does. And he's always good.
I love Paul Heyman.
Period. Paul Heyman can rock the mic anytime. But as they do that, eventually out comes Braun Strowman. And these two face off. And Constable Corbin's like, all right, back off. Save it for Crown Jewel. And Strowman's like, get out of here. He just shoves him aside.
Corbin tries to interject again.
By striking Strowman from behind. Strowman's takes a couple hits, but then he just picks him up. Power slam. And Brock Lesnar's face during these power slams was like a kid in a candy store. He was just big ol' smile, just enjoying himself.
And then Braun Strowman looked at Brock Lesnar and said, this is what you've got in store for Crown Jewel.
Eventually hits third power slam onto Corbin.
Which was prompted by Brock Lesnar.
He's like, do one more time. Do it one more time. And so he does it one more time, gets up, and behind him, Brock Lesnar is getting ready. He turns around, and he hops him up on his shoulders, hits an F5 onto Braun Strowman. And, that was the end of it. But this just hypes that match more. And, gee, it is impressive seeing Brock Lesnar carry Braun Strowman like that.
Yeah.
Woo.
So then after that, we got a Finn Balor Bobby Lashley match.
Yeah. So clearly Bobby Lashley is still fighting through the injury he has. So, but ends up just at the end, like, this was started out like pretty okay, like pretty even, but then, Bobby Lashley just gets on a roll. Just starts beating down Finn Balor. And it was just an absolute beatdown from Lashley. Of course, we had Lio Rush being like, Lashley.
And then Balor picked up a little steam, and then there was a DQ.
Oh, was there? I forgot.
I mean, I have DQ written down.
Oh, okay. That's my bad. I must have forgotten to put that in my notes. But yeah, so he ends up just... But...
I think if I remember correctly, Lio Rush interferes with the match.
Oh, that's right. And then they just start beating him down, and Lio Rush has Bobby Lashley hold Finn Balor as he just like talks in his face, slaps him around a little bit like that.
And then after that, we get a promo from Baron Corbin and Bobby Lashley where... Oh, that's right. The end of the match ends with Lio Rush getting checking his phone, and then they both leave, and it was Baron Corbin
saying, "Come see me." Yeah,
and he announces that he likes what Bobby Lashley was doing to Finn Balor because they had that beef.
Yeah, he's had been a thorn in his side. Yeah,
and so because of that, he's replacing him he is putting him in John Cena's place for the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Which obviously we talked about last week. John Cena won't be going to Crown Jewel because of whatever his own reasons, which I respect him for.
And so that was them in kayfabe showing how that happened.
Exactly.
And then after that, we got probably one of my favorite matches of the week.
Oh yeah,
was the 10-woman tag.
Yeah.
With Sasha, Natalya, Bayley, Trish, Lita versus the Riot Squad, Alicia Fox, and Mickie James.
Yeah.
This was a really good match.
It really turned into, like, at first I was, like, not into it at all, if I'm being honest. I was like, I don't know what it is, but I wasn't into it. But as it picked up, I was like, oh, okay, this is actually pretty dope.
They announced it, and I was kind of a little over it just off of the announcement. I was just like, ugh. It's just going to be like a fluff match for Trish and Lita again. Mm-hmm. And they're just going to get bullied into the hot tag.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be real, like, drawn out because there's 10 of them. And it did start a little slow, but then, like you said, it started to pick up a little bit. And I really enjoyed it. I liked all of the, like, small moments we got with each of the people. Like, Sasha and Bayley got to do a couple of... They did a twin... Clothesline, and then they both did suicide dives at the same time. Yeah,
that was pretty nice. And of course, it ends though with Alicia Fox in the sharpshooter tapping out.
Yes, which was the thing I mistakenly recalled Evolution being, but
yeah, you're right though. That match turned out to be actually pretty good. So yeah, then we get Elias,
which he comes out and is full face.
Oh, yeah, he's just a face now, which I'm happy about.
Comes out, doesn't insult the city, actually compliments Ric Flair.
Yeah. He's talking about Charlotte and all that. And so, so then he's like, I have a song for Baron Corbin, but I'm going to go out to backstage to him to sing the song for him.
So he goes backstage.
Yeah, he goes backstage. And there was a fun part with, I think it was Dana Brooke, who was just like, hey, Elias, can you play his song for me?
No.
And he's like, for you? No. I was like, so damn, dude. And so eventually he finds Baron Corbin's office, and he starts playing the song so that he can hear it. and he just goes off, and he's just insulting the crap out of Baron Corbin. Eventually, his line ends with, You're just Stephanie's little cut." He slams the door so that he doesn't say bitch.
And then he gets attacked from behind by Jinder Mahal.
Of all people.
Which I thought was kind of weird, but I thought it would have been more fitting if it was like AOP. Because he's been using him as his like enforcers.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It leads into a match between him and Jinder Mahal.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, both Singh brothers are healthy now.
Yeah.
So we get some Singh shenanigans.
And Elias ends up taking it.
Yeah, actually, kind of out of nowhere. Like, all of a sudden, he's setting up his drift away. I was like, oh, like, Jinder's going to get out of it somehow. And he hits it. I was like, oh, okay, that's it.
I think my favorite...
They've been kind of burying Jinder, so.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, because I don't mind Jinder.
He's okay.
He's okay, but, I just feel like they're essentially jobbing him out at this point.
That is fair.
My favorite moment of the match was actually on commentary when Michael Cole said that Elias has dinner right where he wants him.
Oh, yeah. And then Corey Graves doesn't let it go.
Did you just call him dinner?
His name is Jinder.
I get that you worked 2 days in a row, but get it together, Cole.
It's so funny. But yeah, so Elias gets the win. We're building Elias, which I'm all for, so...
Next is our three-way tag team match.
Yeah, the Ascension versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable versus Authors of Pain.
Triple threat action.
And this match sucks.
It was not good.
Like, how are you going to give me a triple threat? With these teams, I'm like, okay, I'm down. And then it lasts for 5 minutes. Like, how are you going to do that? Anyway, Chad Gable and Bobby Roode get the win. But then, of course, AOP just start beating everybody down.
And I mean, there's not really anything else to say about the match.
There really isn't. There's nothing really big in this match. They get AOP out quick. They get a couple hits on Victor. Chad Gable does his finisher, which Bobby Roode adds a neck breaker to. But then 1, 2, 3. It's it. It's it. That's it. That's all she wrote. Screw this match.
But what we got after was pretty entertaining.
Yes.
At least for me. Was the Seth Dean promo where Seth Rollins, they play this promo leading up to it, just explaining essentially
what happened,
the build up and the heel turn, and then Seth Rollins comes out and demands answers, talks about how he's not sure what Dean thinks he's doing or why of all nights he chose that one, but he wants some answers.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Dean Ambrose's theme comes on,
and he doesn't come out,
and it stops.
Looks around. Eventually, we see Dean came out through the side like Shield does. And Rollins just starts spitting fire at this guy.
Talking about how you're disrespecting the Shield and...
You're a cold-hearted bastard.
You're a disgrace.
Ooh.
Maybe the lunatic isn't just a nickname.
Oh, yes. It was really, really good. He's like, give me an answer. Tell me why. And Dean lifts his microphone, but he doesn't say anything. Just keeps holding that silence.
And then Seth goes to storm him and hops out of the ring, but by that point, Dean's already
just starts walking away. Yeah,
and the crowd, I never thought I would hear so many boos for new Dean Ambrose.
Right? Yeah, because everybody was excited that he was back. Everybody was excited for the heel turn,
and even when he did hit the dirty deeds on Seth Rollins in the tag team match, everybody cheered it.
Yeah, at first.
And so, before the heel turn, the one where
where he almost did, yeah.
Yeah, where they were building up to the heel turn, not the actual tag.
The heel turn, it got loud because everybody was shocked.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But this has been like 3 weeks ago at this point when they were building up the feud.
Yeah.
And they shoved each other and everybody was like, ooh.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, then we got... that was the end of that. But, which was fine. Like, it keeps the feud alive, but it doesn't really move it forward for me. But that's just where we are. It just
adds more fire to their feud.
Which they're just going to build this. I would bet at either... Probably not Survivor Series, but like a TLC, you'll see those two fight.
Which was kind of a prediction I made at one point.
Oh yeah,
about Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose for an Intercontinental title match at TLC.
I bet you that'll come true. Then.
Oh, it would be
you could
so
write for
cool.
the show. But yeah, then we got
a weird match.
Yeah, Nia Jax took on Ember Moon.
And here's the thing about this match: they are clearly between this and what happened at Evolution, trying to start a feud between Evolution. They're trying to start a feud between Nia Jax and Ember Moon.
Or
something.
Or something with Tamina.
But I feel like if they wanted a feud with any of these three women, there are so many better ways they could have done this.
Yeah, this was a weird match. First off, it got set up because they're talking to Nia Jax about her winning the Battle Royale. And then Ember Moon walks up and they talk to her because she eliminated the most people.
Yeah.
And so then... But yeah, that was the whole basis for this.
And then Nia Jax got huffy.
Yeah.
And was like, I won. You should be talking to me.
Yeah.
And then they were like, Civil War.
All right, cool. All right, this is the match now. And it's like, okay, that's weird. And so this match kind of was a nothing match for the most part. Eventually, Tamina walks down the ramp for the interruption.
Distracts Ember Moon. Gets ragdolled by Nia Jax.
Yeah, Nia gets the win.
And she gets the win.
Which I think is so weird. Like, I understand that, obviously, since Ronda's fighting Becky at Survivor Series, that Nia doesn't have anything to do until after that pay-per-view. But, like, you gotta figure there's something better to do than this.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just sometimes they make decisions for matches, and I'm like, you could do this better with not that much effort.
It's really not as hard as they make it.
So after that, we got a match that I'm pretty sure was just like a hype match.
Oh, yeah.
Because it didn't really hold any merit, but it is still one of my favorite matches of the week.
Yeah.
We got the Raw debut of
the Lucha House Party.
Lucha. And they faced one of my favorite tag teams on Raw.
The Revival.
This match was alright.
Yeah, it was, but Rip Revival.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I thought the Revival was going to win, and this was just going to be like a squash match to like show that they're relevant. And they, instead of using jobbers, they were like, let's get some people that are a little more exciting and pull them up and have them do this match.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they lost.
So I'm guessing in that since they lost, that Lucha House Party is just going to be on both shows. Because why would they have Revival lose to a Lucha House Party if they're not sticking around?
Yeah.
So they got to be building a Lucha House Party just being on Raw from now on.
Which I feel like it would have been cooler, in my opinion, if they would have had them be on SmackDown. I know the tag roster is better on SmackDown, so they don't really need another tag team. But think of it this way. If they would have put Lucha House Party on SmackDown, we could have gotten two awesome things. Okay. First one, we could have had Kalisto and Rey Mysterio interact again.
Awesome.
And they could have brought TJP in on this. Had TJP and Rey Mysterio.
Ooh,
they could have brought Lucha House Party to SmackDown and had Kalisto been like backstage, like, "Hey Rey, there's this guy."
Yeah, he keeps taking everybody. Oh, that would be cool.
Also, the 3v3 tag team with Lucha House Party and New Day would have been amazing.
That really would have been.
Just because they're both high energy, like ridiculous tag teams.
But yeah, I agree with those, but I think it's good that Lucha House Party is on Raw because that tag division needs new blood.
Yeah. Also, I'm down for more luchas anytime. Yeah. Luchadors are my shit. I love luchadors.
Then we got the final match of the event of the day,
which felt kind of weird.
Yeah, it was Dolph Ziggler versus Apollo Crews, and it was weird. Like, kind of out of nowhere. And both these guys look good. And, like, Cruz even looks good. But, Ziggler ends up getting the win off of him. Because, they're hyping the World Cup. And so, but yeah, I don't know what they're doing with this Apollo Crews guy. Is he just a glorified jobber at this point?
I don't know.
Because he is really good in the ring, but he always loses.
I thought they were gonna hype him with Elias,
but then they didn't. They did the face turn with Elias instead.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I feel like Kevin Owens getting injured threw a wrench into a lot of their storylines.
I think that's fair. And, of course, losing Roman was another big hit to them.
Yeah.
So. But, yeah.
Which, that's not really out of their control, and you can't be
mad.
yeah,
exactly.
And you can't be upset for him for it. It's
no,
life.
not at all. Yeah, you can't be upset for Kevin Owens. Like, injuries happen, so, you know.
Yeah. But I could definitely see that it looks like the injuries of two people who were probably going to play injuries or illness.
Yeah.
That of two people who were probably going to be involved in main storylines caused them to have to shift focus on things.
Yeah, exactly. But then at the end of the program, we got the Brothers of Destruction, and they basically just hyped the match with DX.
Yeah, it's just the same stuff we've had.
Yeah. I'm kind of like, don't get me wrong, I was really hyped for this going in. I'm kind of over it.
I'm not like upset at any of the promos they do, but like I'm as hype as I'm gonna get for this match.
Yeah. You're not gonna get me more unless you
add another tag team or something. Like I don't.
Or basically the storyline was, they hit them at Super Showdown, so now they're gonna fight as tag teams.
Yeah.
And that's basically the whole storyline.
Which is something we already saw coming.
Yeah,
as soon as they said that Kane and Shawn Michaels were going to show up, it was like, well, next pay-per-view is going to have DX and Brothers of Destruction.
Exactly. But yeah, so that was Raw. And then so we'll move on to SmackDown.
Oh boy, SmackDown.
So
SmackDown.
Let's jump right into it.
There were only 5 matches on SmackDown this week.
Yeah. So it felt shorter than it actually was. Actually, I think there were only 3.
We had...
up 4. I see 4.
We'll get into it.
Okay.
But the first match was a kind of not supposed to happen.
Yeah. So, they have an AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan face-off in the ring.
And it has now been released to the public that they are doing Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. So it is happening.
And along with John Cena, Daniel Bryan is not going to Saudi Arabia.
Again, I think that's a good choice, but, But yeah, so anyway, during this face-off, AJ Styles says, "That kick was meant for you," referring to the tag match previous week where he hit Daniel Bryan with the Pele kick. And so basically they get in each other's face and they say, "You know what? We don't have to wait till Friday.
We can do it right now.
We can do it right now." And so then Shane O'Mac comes out and he's like, normally everybody says, "No, you have to wait for the pay-per-view." Well, I say we do it right now. Let's get a ref out here and all that.
And everybody goes nuts.
Yep, and so we get
like a 20-minute...
Yeah, it was like 25-minute match, yeah.
We get the match that I'm assuming they've been rehearsing for the pay-per-view.
Yeah, exactly. And so we get the championship match between AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. And
I very much enjoyed it.
This match was great. Like, really good. Like,
it felt like a pay-per-view match.
It really did. And, what do you expect from these two? They're basically 2 living legends at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, the story in the thing, Styles was focusing on the knee. Daniel Bryan was focusing on the arm. Just really great. Eventually, Daniel Bryan's got him in a triangle, but then AJ Styles turns it into a Styles Clash. And then grabs Daniel Bryan's knee that he's been working all match and bends it backwards. And, Daniel Bryan tries, but eventually has to tap out in the ring.
And AJ Styles retains the title.
Yeah. And
in mid-celebration.
Yeah, they start shaking hands, and then, boom, Samoa Joe comes out.
And everybody goes nuts. He coquina clutches AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
Daniel Bryan tries to help him. Because, they're faces.
Yeah, and they had just showed beforehand. They were shaking hands after the match.
It was a...
it was like an honor thing.
Exactly, a friendly end. But yeah, then, Samoa Joe is still fresh. Daniel Bryan is not.
And he gets the coquina clutch on Daniel Bryan as well.
Exactly. Makes them both pass out.
grabs the title belt, holds it up.
Yep, and anyway, that's what happens there, and eventually, we might as well talk about it now. At the AJ is like, I want Joe. Goes to Paige. He's like, I want Joe. I want him for. I had to fight Daniel Bryan. I fought him tonight. Now I want Joe again.
And at the end of the show, they announced that at Crown Jewel will be a title match between AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. They're calling, a lot of the commentators were calling it the end of a feud or the end of a rivalry. The final chapter. AJ and Joe both had little promos they cut. Joe called it AJ's final chapter. I hope they give it to Samoa Joe. I don't know if they will or not, but he's lost so many times in this feud.
He really has. But honestly, I can't see them giving it to. I can't see them giving it to him. Unfortunately.
Sad.
Yep.
But so then after that, we had the Trick or Street fight
with Big E and Cesaro,
and it was the bar show, which is what I'm calling it, where they come out and they do their pose. Big Show walks out. New Day. I'm so used to their intro that I started in on it with them. The whole Atlanta five-time champ.
Five-time champ, yep.
And I said out loud to myself, "It's a New Day, yes it is," and then didn't hear it on the screen.
Yep, and instead the Bruins music starts playing, and out come the New Day dressed as the Bruins.
The New Day did, in honor of Halloween, dress as the Brood.
Which I thought was so awesome.
It's classic New Day at this point. Them just being ridiculous. And so they decide that for this Trick or Street fight, it's going to be Big E versus Cesaro. And there are shenanigans everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Like, honestly, they did actually something I really like. Because obviously matches like these are like, well, there's no rules. Like, there's no disqualification or anything like that. And so, right off the bat, like, Big E gets a little momentum going, and Sheamus just goes in and beats the crap out.
Yeah, there's no rules. That's why I like.
Like normally they let him fight for a little while before they get involved, but he's like, no, I'm just gonna do it right now.
That's why I like special matches like this or no disqualification matches when there is a person or both sides have members or members of groups. Because then there's no disqualifications. There's no reason for it to just turn into a brawl.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as the two people who were designated for the match, one of them gets a pin.
Yeah, exactly. Or a submission, yeah.
So there were people smashing pumpkins. People went through tables.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
At one point, Big Show had Xavier and Kofi by the throat. He was going to
chokeslam both of them.
He was going to chokeslam them both through a table. And Xavier had some fake blood, I'm assuming.
I think it was fake blood.
It looked thicker than water.
Yeah, and it stayed longer than water.
Apparated just all over the face of Big Show. And they cut to him a couple times after that. It's just all over him.
And then, of course, Big E has the same idea, gets it on Cesaro, and, of course, gets the pin. New Day wins.
Yeah, he gets the big finish.
But
before that, Cesaro set up for, I think it was his finisher. I don't remember if it was his finisher.
Yeah, he goes for the grapple that he does for it.
And Big E reversed it, and it was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, and he almost lands on the pumpkins again, which they did that spot earlier, which was really great, by the way. But, just a great match, honestly.
It was a really fun match.
But, yeah, so then we moved on to...
We had a World Cup promo.
Oh, yes.
Where... it was Shane O'Mac talking with the 4 members of the World Cup from SmackDown.
Exactly.
And he was like, I like your spirit. Like, they all had a little thing where, he hyped each one of them up.
Yeah.
And Rey Mysterio was like, all you breed is fear, Randy Orton. Well, I'm not scared. Gave, the hope baby face
the baby face of baby faces.
Yeah. And... Shane O'Mac was like, I like that. I like your fire. But I just want the 4 of you to know, whichever one of you faces the Raw superstar, if you lose, you're fired.
Because I am not listening. I do not want Stephanie to have that over me. I don't.
So that was a little bit of
oh, dang.
Yeah, it raised the stakes a little bit. I think his exact words were, "If you lose, you'll be crawling to Raw."
Yeah, or something, or you're just gone, or something like that.
Which makes me think a lot, because it would be interesting to see one of the people from Raw win, but that also, if one of them from Raw wins, that also means there could be a new storyline, there could be a new person in contention for titles.
Gotcha.
Because they could pick up whoever loses, potentially. Yep. Unless they just did that to make it seem more serious and aren't actually going to get rid of anyone.
Or they'll just have SmackDown win.
Or they'll have SmackDown win, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just a nice little flavor of seriousness to the World Cup. And then after that, we had R-Truth versus Shinsuke.
Which we don't know if it was a title match or not.
Well, because at the beginning they said it was. And then about halfway through, commentary said it wasn't.
Yeah, I have no idea what was happening.
It doesn't really matter because Shinsuke won.
Yeah, so he would have kept the title if it was a title match anyway.
But I want to talk about the beginning of this match. I thought it was interesting because this is the first time it's happened. Carmella raps with R-Truth.
She does. I think they started it once, but cut to commercial. Like, she had a line and they cut to her commercial or something like that. But this time they straight up were just like, oh, they're doing the whole thing.
It was a little unrehearsed. It was a little ill-rehearsed.
Yeah, I don't know if
it wasn't the cleanest, but I would be on board with that. Like, if they end up making this like a permanent thing, like if they end up making those, like, marrying those two as characters.
Okay.
I don't think I would necessarily mind that.
Oh, it's great.
Because they interact together really well.
Oh yeah, I really like their chemistry. Yeah.
So if they ended up becoming a group, they don't even have to do a relationship or anything. But
no.
If they just were two, like, hosts of Truth TV,
or she could be like a manager, or she could be a manager,
or just hype men,
or in general, or Truth TV keeps going.
Both of them are so much fun to watch together.
I really like them both. Yeah, but so anyway.
About halfway through the match,
they get the dance break.
Yeah, about halfway through the match, they get a dance break. They also announced on commentary that it was supposed to be Ty Dillinger versus Shinsuke.
Yeah.
And that because what Randy Orton did to him the previous week, or might have been 2 weeks.
I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago,
he was unable to compete.
But
I didn't mind the match.
Yeah, it was fine.
I like both of them, and they were both very athletic. And that Kinshasa at the end was kind of high.
Oh yeah,
like,
because
he had his leg real high up when he hit
Truth
it.
Was standing.
Yeah,
he was straight up standing. And he's not a small dude. Like, so, yeah.
And then that brings us to our last match.
Well, we had a Becky Lynch promo, but she just hypes the match with Ronda, and it was just fine. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Becky Lynch is great, and this promo wasn't bad, but it just wasn't what I usually.
It wasn't significant enough for me to write down.
Exactly.
If we're being honest.
But then, we get to the main event, which is The Miz and Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy and Rey Mysterio.
Which I was really excited for because I like all four of these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a pretty good match.
Honestly, for the most part, it was pretty typical, but it was still good.
Yeah, I didn't have any problems with it.
Oh, I didn't really either. Hardy ended up getting the win. But then, Randy Orton goes on this tear. RKO's Jeff, RKO's Rey Mysterio, and stands tall. And The Miz gets up. He's like, all right, nice job, Randy. And, pats him on the back. And as soon as he does it, Randy just goes, RKO to The Miz.
Yep, he just basically is trying to let everyone know that he is going to stand tall.
The Viper is here, And that was SmackDown, so.
All right.
And honestly, SmackDown was good this week.
Yeah, I didn't really mind either.
Back to its rightful place as the A show.
Yeah. I actually didn't mind either of the shows this week.
Oh, no, they were both actually pretty good, yeah.
But then we get our Wednesday shows.
Yeah. Well, first we had the Mixed Match Challenge, which I'll just go over really quickly.
Then we had the Mixed Match Challenge.
Yeah, which we'll just go over pretty quickly. So we had, first was the Raw match, which was Mahalisha versus Monster Eclipse. Pretty easy. There's a couple spots that I wanted to mention. There's one that Jinder Mahal tries to do the hand hold with Braun Strowman and just immediately gets put into the underhand. And Strowman's just like, you really wanted to go toe-to-toe with me on this? And so anyway, then there's another part where Alicia Fox is bouncing off the ropes, and Ember Moon is trying to catch her. But at one point, Ember Moon just stops. She's like, "What the heck is happening?" And Alicia Fox just keeps going between ropes. I'm like, but she's getting a cardio workout here. Eventually, Alicia gets a little bit of a momentum going, but then Ember Moon gets the hot tag to Strowman. Eventually, Monster Eclipse gets the win. It's actually a pretty good match, which you don't always get from Mixed Match Challenge. So this one was actually pretty good. Then we had the SmackDown one, which was Phenomenal Flair versus Ravishing Rusev Day. Both of them found signs that fans had in the stands and ended up taking them into the ring and showing them off and stuff like that. And then they did a chop off. So, Lana and Charlotte start doing the chops. Of course, Charlotte just destroys Lana in the chop off. But yeah, it was weird. There's always there was a kind of dance off with Lana, which I was like, this is pretty dumb. Like, they do that every single time at this point. Anyway, match ends with Charlotte Flair getting her into the figure eight. Lana taps out. Boom. Then we get to the Wednesday shows, and we'll start with me going over NXT UK really quick, because this was a double header. Just randomly. They were like, here's 2 episodes. I was like, oh, okay. Which was really awkward because I watched them back to back. So like, after watching one, I watched the next one, and on the I think it's episode 4, they're like, man, the WWE Universe has been talking about this all week. I'm like, well, they haven't. It literally was released the same day. So it was like just awkward because it's obviously like those are pre-recorded. So, but yeah. So anyway, first episode though, we started with Trent Seven versus Saxon Huxley. Pretty boring match. Trent Seven, he has great chops though. He gets the win. I like him. I don't like this match. Pretty easy. Then we had Flash Morgan Webster versus Mark Coffey, and Mark was accompanied by his brother Joe. And Webster is like cruiserweight of the NXT UK world because he is fast. And Mark is actually pretty good, but compared to how fast Webster is, he seems boring in comparison, which is a weird thing to happen. But yeah, Webster gets the win, but then gets jumped afterward by the brothers, and then his buddy Mark Andrews and Travis Banks even the odds. They run out, and then the Coffees run away because they're heels. So then we went into Danny Burch versus Sam Gradwell, and this match was awesome. So just an absolute slugfest. It was fast-paced, and it was pretty short, but they just went the whole time. So it was pretty good.
High octane.
Yeah, Burch ends up getting the win, and then he gets on the mic afterwards, and he, hypes himself up. He's been in the industry for 15 years. Eventually, he calls out Pete Dunne for the UK Championship. And anyway, that ends there. And then we get the main event for this episode, which was Noam Dar versus Zach Gibson. And it starts slow, but then it really picks up. Eventually, it turns into a match. Like, there are matches and there are matches. This is a match. And anyway, it's so good. He slams Dar onto the ramp. Shankly Gates submission gets locked on a couple times. There's one move where Noam Dar does a double stomp from the top rope directly onto Gibson's knee. I was like, yeah, I'd be screaming in pain too. Like, it was absolutely incredible. Gibson, though, hits the Helter Skelter and gets the win. Crowd boos him relentlessly because he's just a big ol' heel. Then second episode only had a couple matches. First one was Mustache Mountain versus Sam Gradwell and Saxon Huxley. This was a weird match. There was a cover where the heel was checking to see if the ref was looking. The ref wasn't looking, and then he went for a cover. And I was like, the ref's not looking. What are you freaking doing? Anyway, Gradwell looks great, but Mustache Mountain gets the win off of him, and that's cool. Then we have Travis Banks backstage thing. He gets attacked by who knows? Probably the Coffee Brothers from the quote unquote last week.
Do we need another 6-week investigation?
No. I hope not. Anyway, he was set for the main event, so obviously he can't compete. So then Mark Andrews ends up taking his place. But before we get there, we had Nina Samuels versus Isla Dawn. Good striking. Dawn gets a suplex and gets the win. And honestly, Nina Samuels has had 2 fights in 4 episodes, and she's lost them both. So she's getting buried, put at the bottom of the division. And then we had Jordan Devlin versus Tucker. Tucker actually looked pretty good, but is basically a glorified jobber. And then we get to Mark Andrews versus Wolfgang in the main event. And this match was awesome, but it doesn't really hold a whole lot. At the end, Coffee Brothers run in, start beating on him. Eventually, out comes Flash Morgan Webster to help him out, and they get him too. But then Wolfgang, who the match was against, hops in there too, and he's like, "I'm not gonna let you beat on these guys." And then he turns. He's just like, "I'm just kidding. I just want part of the beatdown as well." And he just beats him down too. So that was NXT UK, both episodes.
All right.
But then we move into 205 Live.
Which I thought was alright.
Yeah, it wasn't as phenomenal as some of their episodes are, but it's still pretty good.
I don't think it was as good as last week, but it was still a good episode.
Oh, yeah.
We had the Gentleman Jack Gallagher versus Brian Kendrick, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, they've been building this feud pretty nicely. I really enjoy it.
I like Brian Kendrick a lot.
Oh, yeah, he's great and very entertaining. They had Drew Gulak on commentary. And, these guys, quick, entertaining. At the end, Gulak tries to interfere and gets stopped by Akira Tozawa. And that allows Kendrick to get the pin after hitting his finisher.
After that, we had basically a squash match.
It
was Grand Metalik versus some jobber who, I'll be honest, I don't have his name.
I didn't even write it down. That's how much I knew it was a squash match.
It ended really quick. It was neat to see Grand Metalik in his older kind of stark gold.
Yeah.
And shocker, after the match, TJP rushes in and rips his mask off.
Ooh, and that's all 3 of them.
Claiming his 3rd mask.
Ooh, and that is a lot of heat in that feud right now, and I'm really excited to see where it goes.
And I think he knows there's a lot of heat because afterwards he interrupts a promo with the Canellises.
Yeah, and so eventually they're like, "We get it. You bit off more than you can chew with the Lucha House Party, and you want him to be a bodyguard. We'll go talk terms or whatever."
Which has me a little excited because I think it would be cool to have a Lucha House Party tag team match against Mike Kanellis and TJP.
That'd be so good.
After that, we had the Mustafa versus Tony Nese match.
Yeah, and obviously we gave him praise after the Fatal 5-Way. But before that, we ripped on Tony Nese pretty hard. But this match was cool. Ali looks great, and Nese really upped his game.
Yeah, he did. This was for title shot.
Yeah, number 1 contender match.
Yep.
So, yeah. This match was cool.
I like them both. I still am kind of struggling to get behind Tony Nese's.
Yeah, I'm not completely behind him.
Bit. But they at least maybe had the mics up or something up by the ring because you actually hear Tony Nese talk when he comes in this time.
Yeah, exactly.
Which made it a little less cringy.
Yeah.
That you could actually hear him so he's not just like mumbling over.
Yeah, it's
crowd.
not perfect, but at least it's something better.
The match was really technically good. Both of these guys are really good at what they do.
Yeah. Which, granted, it wasn't last week's false count anywhere, but Ali still looks great, and he gets the win.
Yep. So now it'll be
Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali for the Cruiserweight Championship.
And I am excited because they are both very good.
Yes, they really are.
And Cedric Alexander had some...
Yeah, there was a backstage thing where he was like, since losing the champion, you've lost 3 times. You're not ready for that title shot again, so I'm not going to give it to you. It's not fair to the other competitors, and it's not fair to you. So,
which a little of that I see, and a little of that I see Drake Maverick just being a heel.
Well, he's a face on 205 Live though, so that's kind of weird. It's just so weird, but yeah.
Well, heel-ish.
Yeah, and honestly, like, there was a debate of should the rematch clause be a thing still, and I like that it's not playing a role right now in 205 Live, because obviously I want to see Cedric Alexander fight for the title again, but he's right, he's lost 3 times. Why should he fight for the championship at this point?
That's fair.
I'm all for rematches if they make sense. And right now it doesn't make sense to have Cedric fight again.
So here's the real question, because this doesn't happen very often. Let's say Mustafa Ali beats
Buddy
Murphy. Does Cedric Alexander then get a rematch against Buddy Murphy, or would he get a rematch against Mustafa for the title?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Well, rematch against Mustafa.
Yeah. I honestly don't know, but
that could be interesting.
It'd be interesting all around.
They could eventually turn it into a triple threat. I would be down with that.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
So after that, we get NXT.
We start out with a women's match,
which was real good.
It really was. It was Nikki Cross versus Mercedes Martinez. And Martinez, I don't think she's officially signed to WWE, but she was part of the Mae Young Classic, and I think they're just adding her for having her be on a couple matches.
It's kind of like a named jobber for right now.
Yeah, exactly. And this match was good, and Martinez looks good in it.
Yeah, it was a very flattering match for both sides, and Nikki Cross is bleeding all over the match.
Her nose is bleeding. Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I honestly didn't see the blood at first. And all of a sudden, I see the ref putting on his gloves. I'm like, oh, who's bleeding?
Well, she came off the turnbuckle and came up and had blood all over her face. And I was like, what happened?
Yeah, I missed it. But yeah. Eventually, so Nikki gets the win, though. And Candice LeRae comes out. And she interrupts. And she's like, how could you, how could you say that? That's our business. You had no right.
You ruined our lives.
Yeah. But then, Nikki, and she's wearing all black, by the way. Candice LeRae is. Yeah. Even black lipstick.
Which kind of goes to show that she's not the wife going, my husband made a bad decision. Why did you tell us? Why'd you tell people this? It was her basically defending her husband and being like, we had this fine under wraps. You blew it.
Yep. Then Nikki starts walking away and gets stopped by Aleister Black. And he walks out to the ring, gets in LeRae's face.
If there was any time for them to give permission for a male superstar to hit a female superstar, I thought this might have been it.
Yeah, I was like, is he going to like chokeslam her or something like that?
Even the crowd was chanting, hit her, hit her.
I was like, and it just proves that there's plenty of promotions that do mixed matches, period. So I know that WWE is a little slower on that, but I think we're ready.
And you can see her mouth. He's not here.
Yep, and then he's like, you see him say a couple things, which he ends up telling us later, and he's just looking for Gargano, and he's like, Gargano's future here in this company is gonna fade to black, which was so good. Of course, later on we get him face to face with William Regal, and at that time Regal gives him the match between him and Gargano for War Games.
I'm so excited.
So excited. And then gives a match for Ciampa against the Velveteen Dream for the NXT Championship.
Which Lars Sullivan was not okay with.
He most certainly was not. And of course that sets up a match for next week. But yeah.
After the Nikki Cross match, we had Street Profits versus the Mighty. Had a rematch for that.
This is their third time fighting.
And this was the first time I'd seen the Street Profits, I think.
You saw them, I think our first episode, but yeah.
But man, Montez Ford is a monster.
He can fly.
That guy is so athletic.
He really is.
Oh.
But yeah, the Profits look good in this match, man. And it really was good.
He was just doing so much cool shit.
He was handling both of them at one point.
When he bounced off, somersaults off of both of them.
Yeah.
Hit the ropes, did the double drop kick.
So good. So good.
That guy, like the commentator said, he's got to be one of, if not the most athletic guy on NXT.
Legit. And so, eventually, Street Profits get the win.
They get their property back.
Their cup and their bling back. I was like, yes.
And then after that, we had a match about someone I'd never heard of.
Yeah, I was very hyped for this.
The promo I saw for him, I was like, really? The King of Bros?
The King of Bros, man.
This guy is going to be a grade A doucher. I really like this guy.
Oh, yeah. Matt Riddle comes out, and he's got a squash match.
He might be one of my favorite people on NXT.
Yeah. Like, to say I've been excited for this guy's debut is an understatement. Of course, he killed it in the UFC, and he did the amateur wrestling for a little while. And while he was amateur wrestling, he didn't wear knee pads. He didn't wear shoes or knee pads. And I was like, man, it's the WWE. They're kind of stricter. Are they going to let him fight like that without any shoes, without any protective gear on his legs? And they are, so that's cool.
Well, and there's been several at this point. Lashley, Lesnar, Ronda, Sonya Deville. There's been a lot of wrestlers
MMA fighters
who have been MMA fighters beforehand. But man, every move you can see that MMA fight style in there.
Oh yeah.
And it was so cool. It was like a perfect blend. A lot of the other people we had I had just named, like you'll see them alternate. Like they'll do like MMA punches and then go into like a wrestling move, like a swanton or a suplex or something.
Yeah. Of course, Brock Lesnar's are suplexes, the F5. Those are classic wrestling moves.
And so you see with Matt Riddle, you see him throw some punches. He throws a knee into a DDT. He like a Muay Thai knee into a DDT.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, yeah.
Oh, it was so cool.
It really flows too, and it's probably the closest thing anybody's gonna see to like a legit MMA fighter. Like, because obviously, like you said, they are legit MMA fighters, but they don't really do MMA style in the ring.
And like they will every now and again, like with Ronda, where she gets pumped up and does her jabs.
Yeah, but it's like this is MMA time, this is wrestling time. Whereas Matt Riddle's style it's wrestling MMA time.
Yeah. And I have a couple notes. They had something, he did a standing senton that they called the Broton, and it was the coolest thing. He hit the senton and had so much momentum, he stood up after it.
Oh,
it was so clean, and then he ended up getting there with what they called the bro mission, which was a real gnarly hold.
Yeah, and I didn't see the tap, but like I believe it. That thing looked painful.
When he laid into it, the camera was on the opposite side of him, and by the time they'd switched it around, he had already called for the bell. But he immediately threw the tap down.
Yeah, and I would too. Honestly, that thing looks painful.
So I'm very excited to see where Matt Riddle goes.
Hell yeah. I hope they do a lot with him because he's so good.
And then after that we had what was basically another squash match.
Yeah.
Was Lorcan and Birch versus Cario and Mendoza.
Yeah, and honestly,
I mean,
not even Mendoza and was it Carrillo?
Cario, something like that.
Yeah. Honestly, both teams actually put pretty good, but I mean, they weren't going to give it to Mendoza.
Yeah, I liked the aerial antics of Cario and Mendoza.
Yeah, and then of course Lorcan and Birch are monsters.
I feel like, remember how we were talking about how Revival is like the classic tag team?
Yeah.
I feel like Lorcan and Birch are that on speed.
They're like a classic British tag team.
They're like, they very much, a lot of their moves and the way they carry themselves, they're very much classic tag team, but they are so high octane and so extreme.
Yeah. There's a lot of that like British strong style in there, so that's but yeah, I really like that.
And then after that we have what we call a match.
Yeah. It was supposed to be the main event was supposed to be Undisputed Era versus War Raiders. And, Raiders just jump them backstage.
Which adds to there are three kinds of matches now. There's a match, and then there's a match.
Yeah.
Where we thought this was going to be a match, and then it just turned into what you said, a backstage brawl that led out into the parking lot.
And I really liked it. Like, because...
It reminded me so much of older wrestling.
That and, like, we're used to all the same props. You get used to the backstage props, even. But this one, they literally take it outside to, like, a patio. and there's trucks everywhere. He just throws Adam Cole into the side of a truck.
Yeah.
And they're throwing them into garage doors and stuff. Like, that stuff I never seen.
Like, there was like a patio umbrella that one of them got hit with. And so, starts out, War Raiders are tearing it up. Then the Undisputed Era starts to get some momentum because they just have numbers.
Yeah.
And then who else do we see?
Ricochet.
Jumps into this fray, starts slamming Adam Cole.
Ooh, it's so good.
And that starts to carry back inside. It was kind of neat because we see from 3 different angles all of the members of Undisputed Era getting brought back into the ring.
Yep, and eventually they get to the ring, but once they get there,
they pick up steam.
Bobby Fish gets that chair, slams it against one of the War Raiders, and then the Undisputed Era starts tearing through him.
Just completely flips. And then we hear an intro.
It's Pete Dunne, the Bruiserweight.
Who comes, not even running, he's just strutting like he owns the place.
And he's got a chair of his own.
Walks into the ring, and that, again, starts to flip the tide to the other direction. And there's no winner because they're all just brawling. And then in the middle, you hear William Regal come into the ramp, and he yells, "Not like this! This is not how we're going to have this match." And announces for NXT War Games,
a War Games match between the Undisputed Era against the War Raiders, Ricochet, and Pete Dunne.
It is going to be such a good match.
Dream match.
I am so excited. That moment put me over the moon.
But that ended NXT for us this week.
Oh,
it was so good. Of course, NXT kills it every week. It's literally it's up there with SmackDown.
And this kind of goes with what I've been saying about NXT, but this is just another thing that has got me on the edge of my seat. It's another...
I need to see what happens next. Yeah.
It's another... I can't wait for more NXT.
Mm-hmm. All right, but yeah, let's get to our stuff of the week before we get to our Saudi Arabia picks. So let's start with your match of the week. Give me your match of the week.
My match of the entire week.
Yep. There's a lot of good ones to choose from.
There are a lot of good ones to choose from. I think if I had to choose, honestly, I'm probably going to have to give it to AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan.
That was a great match.
Just because, nothing against the other matches of the week, but this was literally a pay-per-view match on a weekly show.
That's something to be said.
With 2 people who are
living legends
and will definitely be Hall of Famers.
Oh yeah, almost immediately once they actually retire. But yeah, that's a good pick. Mine is the last women standing match between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. That match had everything.
That was really good.
Everything. It had chairs, tables, ladders. They had it all.
It was a very good match.
Mm-hmm.
So, who do you think had the best week?
The best week? One moment. Right, the best week. I don't know. I'm gonna say, Mustafa Ali gets the number 1 contendership right after that 1 week of that epic Falls Count Anywhere match. He was injured, quote unquote, from the previous week, and he still gets the win, still gets that number 1 contendership. I'm going to go with Mustafa Ali. How about yourself?
All right. I think the person who had the best week... Honestly, I would probably say... I'm also going to pick... someone from NXT.
All right.
I'm gonna pick. That's true. Mustafa Ali is not from NXT. I'm probably gonna pick Matt Riddle. I gotta go with Matt Riddle. His debut was so strong.
It really was.
Like, the WWE Universe has a pretty good job of getting people good first appearances. Like, most people's debut matches are good, But man, did this guy just come out and tear it up.
He really did. But yeah, then give me your worst. Who had the worst week?
The worst week. Man, I hate to say it because I very much like them. I think Revival had the worst week.
I think that's a good choice, honestly.
Just because, like, they were in one of the best matches of the week that I picked at least.
Yeah, like 3 weeks ago.
3 or 4 weeks ago. And they're such a strong tag team, but they have just been doing nothing but losing lately.
They have gotten buried since then. Absolutely buried.
It was either going to be the Revival or Jinder.
Mine is actually Jinder Mahal, yeah. Because, hasn't been on TV for 2 weeks. Then he loses to Elias. Yeah, so. Yeah, he even got the drop on Elias.
Yeah.
He even got the drop on the dude. Beat him up in the hallway. And then had to go through with a match
that he lost. All right. So this week we do not have a question of the week because we were coming off of a pay-per-view and we have another pay-per-view this Friday.
So we figured we'd just focus on the upcoming pay-per-view instead. And so, obviously it's Crown Jewel. And we're not doing a title defense this time. We're doing a... if you win this time, you get a bonus for the next pay-per-view. Specifically, you're going to get an extra 1 point pick for TLC. Sorry, for Survivor Series.
Yeah, for Survivor Series. Yeah. With it being so close to Evolution, and with the way that the Crown Jewel is set up, we just figured it would be easier to just do a title match for Evolution and then something else for this.
Yep. So. And so we're gonna do every match is worth 1 point. You pick the right person, you get that point. Obviously, with the bracket, that can compound into many points. Whereas if you get them all wrong in the first round, then you lose out on all those points. So yeah. So did you want to start with the bracket first or the individual matches?
We can start with the individual matches first.
All right. So first individual match is the kickoff show. Shinsuke versus Rusev for the U.S. title. I'm going to go with Shinsuke on this one. I mean, it's on the kickoff show. They haven't built this feud at all. I just can't see them taking it away from Shinsuke without building it for something.
I mean, that would have been my choice as well.
Yep, so we both have Shinsuke. Then we have Samoa Joe, AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. Who you got?
I think they're going to give it to AJ, but I really hope they give it to Samoa, so I'm actually going to pick Samoa Joe on this one.
All right. I pick AJ. So we'll have that. So that's a difference. So then, Universal title, Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar. I'm going to go with Braun. I can't see them putting it on Brock because he gets paid like $2 million for every appearance he makes. And I think they want to keep the title on Raw for a little while.
I also agree with Braun. I also agree with Braun Strowman just because if they went through all of this just to put the title back on Brock Lesnar, it would have been it's going to be a little ridiculous.
It really would. Final individual match we got, well, quote unquote individual, Brothers of Destruction, DX. Give me your pick.
I don't know. They haven't really done enough. Well, I don't want to say they haven't done enough. There's been quite a few promos. But they haven't really done anything to hint at which side is going to
there's no real momentum going in.
So, I mean, it could be a coin flip. I'm going to go with Brothers of Destruction just because Brothers of Destruction.
I'm going to go with DX. So, I'll be another difference. But now we get into the bracket. You want to start with Raw or SmackDown?
Let's start with Raw. We'll do it in order.
All right. So Rollins, Lashley. Who gets it?
I'm honestly not sure. I could see them giving it to Bobby Lashley just because they're doing the whole thing with Rollins not being in the right mindset because of Dean Ambrose.
Gotcha. I'm actually going to go the opposite way. I'm going to pick Seth. I'm going to take Seth Rollins. He's been on a hype this whole year. Lashley just kind of filled it with John Cena being gone. I think they give it to Rollins.
I'm pretty sure that we agree on the next one. I
Yes.
feel like Kurt Angle is going to beat Dolph Ziggler.
I would agree as well. I can't see them giving... They've been hyping Kurt a lot and not Dolph Ziggler a whole
And nothing against Dolph Ziggler, but yeah, they're going to try to put Kurt over here.
Yep. All right, so then my final match for Raw then is Rollins Angle. I'm going to pick Rollins for it. But yours is Lashley Angle. Who are you going to pick?
Yeah. Screw it. We'll go with Bobby.
Bobby. Nice. So you have Bobby in the finals. Nice.
He is a big dude.
He really is. All right. Hardy the Miz. Give me your winner.
I don't know, man. This is really unfortunate because both of the first matches for me are very skewed by bias. Because I very much like Jeff Hardy and Rey Mysterio.
Fair.
I think they're probably going to give it to The Miz, if we're being honest.
All right. I also would agree with that pick, so I'm going to pick The Miz as well. Then we have Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton. I'm going to pick Rey Mysterio for this.
I was actually also going to pick Rey Mysterio.
All right. So that means both of our semifinal pick for SmackDown is The Miz versus Rey Mysterio. Who you got?
You know what? I'm going to believe in the little engine that could. I'm going to give it to Rey Mysterio in both matches. This one and the next one.
Nice. All right. So you're going to, pick Rey Mysterio. I'm actually going to pick the winner from SmackDown as well. But I think it's going to be The Miz. And I'll tell you why. I bet you The Miz gets to the finals because the match with Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio, Rey gets injured in it but gets the win. Because Randy's just brutal to him.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Just absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
And so then he's going into that match with Miz injured. Miz gets the win. Goes up against Seth Rollins. So in my final, Seth Rollins fights The Miz. I say The Miz wins. The whole thing.
I just want to see Rey Mysterio versus Bobby Lashley because I feel like that would be hilarious.
Yeah, so you're going to have Bobby Lashley fight Rey Mysterio with Rey Mysterio winning.
Yeah, because shenanigans. Because Rey Mysterio is going to throw his whole 100-pound self at Bobby Lashley.
Nice, I love it. But yeah, so those are our picks for Saudi Arabia, and I think that brings us to a close for this episode.
Yeah, maybe not the smartest picks in my book, but I don't know. I like to play high risk, high reward.
Yeah, you'll get to keep your title for a little longer anyway. So.
All right, that's right.
All right, well, this has been the weekly wrestling cast. I'm Danny Marvelous.
I'm Nick the Iceman, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.